Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. So today I'm going to be talking about depression and suicide. Both of the subjects aren't exclusively tied together, but a lot of people always have a lot to say about both, and having never dealt with either, or they're not honest that they've dealt with either one. Okay. Because there's a lot of people who have dealt with depression and were suicidal, but they're not honest enough to admit it for whatever reason, as if there's something to be ashamed about. Um, let's go with depression first, okay? People say, oh, it's just in your head. Depression is not in your head. Depression makes you feel sick, like you feel ill, physically ill. During a time when I was depressed, I felt violently ill. I would literally be throwing up, like I had morning sickness. And it was clearly not just in my head. There were things that was happening, there were things that had happened that was out of my control, and it took over me. And when you feel like you can't talk to people about it, it makes it worse because people judge you. People judge what they don't understand. They criticize what they don't understand, and they criticize what they're ashamed to. They're ashamed of knowing what you're going through, but they're too ashamed to say, "Yeah, I understand what you're going through. I've been there." Because they act like depression is some shameful thing that you brought it on yourself. And that needs to stop, especially in the black community and the black church. It has to stop. Prayer is wonderful, but you still need to go talk to somebody. You still need to be able to actively get out what is inside of you, and you need to be able to know that you can turn to someone, know that somebody there is willing to listen. And there's just so much more to being depressed than people think, oh, she's depressed over this, over that. Sometimes it's not just one thing. Sometimes there are just things that stack up on top of one another. It's one thing after the other, and before you know it, you're in bed, you're sick, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you're just done. And sometimes you do feel suicidal with depression. Some people do, some people don't. Every depressed person isn't feeling the same things, and they're not brought to that point for the same reasons. And with suicide, I hear people saying, oh, it's so selfish, what about your loved ones and this and that. Well, yeah, you do have people that you leave behind, and it is hard for them. But at the same time, as you know, it's not selfish to want the pain to end. Most people, when they're suicidal, they don't want to die. They just want the pain to end, and they know that that's the way their pain's going to end. To them, that is how to end their pain and their suffering and their misery. They don't necessarily want to die. They just want all that to end. And when I hear people say, that's selfish, what about your family? Live for your family. You can't even live for your kids. I mean, you can use them as motivation until you can get the help you need. Absolutely. But even then, even at some point, that becomes not enough. Your loved ones, it is not okay for you to expect them to deal with all this misery so you feel comfortable. Because a lot of times when you tell people, your family members, you're suicidal, they judge you. It is not okay for you to make them feel worse because you're uncomfortable. Imagine what they deal with on a daily basis. Imagine the pain and the sorrow and the misery that they deal with every single day. It is selfish for you to expect them to just grin and bear all that just so you're comfortable. It's not fair. And no matter what anybody tells you, it's not just in your head. And I see people say, "Oh my gosh, she killed herself over a boy," or she. Nobody's just killing themselves over a boy or a man or whatever. There are things that are tied into all that sometimes have nothing to do with that person. But sometimes when a person kills themselves after a breakup, sometimes it is because that person is their last hope in a way. It's like they've built themselves up to depend on this person, and then when this person lets them down, that ties into their own worth sometimes. Every situation is different, but they're not just killing themselves over a person. There are things that led them to that point, and that breakup is just a catalyst. Boom, and they kill themselves. I hear people quote scriptures about the Bible and, oh, you're not going to be forgiven. And where have you read that it says you won't be forgiven? Where? You see, the problem with Christians, especially the black church, is you're quick to judge, you're quick to condemn, but you're slow to show compassion. You know those scriptures by heart when it's time to condemn people. But that same Bible teaches you compassion. And it would be nice if y'all would exercise some of that sometimes. This is why people don't go to the church. This is why people don't talk. Because they're tired of being judged for something that they don't even understand. If you are so quick to know the Bible about sins, use that same Bible to learn how to be more compassionate. You might save a life. You never know. So that is it, y'all. I'm gonna go because this conversation is one that just can't be had in one video, and it's an ongoing conversation that we need to constantly have. And we need to have it with compassion, not judgment, not condemnation, but we need to have it with compassion in our hearts. We need to have it with compassion as the intent. If you're not going to help, don't hinder. All right, y'all, that is it for now. I will talk to y'all later, and thank y'all so much for watching.